Yeah, throw noodles down to the people walking in the street, right? That would be the day. Start throwing food down and the people will gather around to grab it. Good morning, good morning. I didn't bother trying the mic test out there. There is sound, I'm here. I didn't bother trying the test. We'll do this later when we maybe take a break through our stream. We'll turn the camera around and we'll do a test with this mic to see exactly what happens with it out there. Did it confuse people because I didn't talk? I'm sorry, I just wanted to avoid the mic problem. Beautiful day here in Tokyo. Another beautiful blue winter day. You can see what's going on today. It's another printing stream. Okay, here we are. What shall we do here? That camera. Off to my right is the normal camera that looks down on my desk. We've brought it upstairs here. Jeff, I turn these off for a second so you can see the layout. Just a minute. Let's kill the street camera. Kill that. Okay, here's the desk. Obviously, I'm sitting here at the printing desk. My feet go down inside. My feet are not stretched out. My feet are going down. This is a raised platform, and my feet at the moment right here are on the floor. There's actually a little tiny hot carpet under there that the girls use to keep their feet warm. The printing bench is here. It's angled a little bit. In front of me, I have the Maebako front box, computer, cameras, all kinds of stuff. The paper will come out of here, get printed. The paper will go off to my side. I don't want to muck too much with the cameras here. There's a box at the side here where the paper will go after the printing. And I've switched the desk. For those of you who have been keeping track of these kind of things, I have switched the desk around. I got a hammer and screwdriver and whatever, and I took it all apart yesterday. First, I moved these out of the way. The pigment was on the right. The outbox was on the left, ready for a right-handed printer to grab the pigment and to pull the paper off. I have now switched them. Sugi-san is gone. She ain't going to be coming back, so I can cannibalize this desk. It's now ready for a left-handed printer. The pigments, etc., are at my left here where they should be. The paper, as you see, will get peeled off and it'll go out to the right-hand stack. And to do that, I had to rebuild the bench. The bench is a board which goes out on two wings. And up to yesterday, the right-hand wing was larger, ready for the Baron to be here. And now the left-hand wing is larger. I didn't completely convert it. I put it half and half. So it doesn't really suit me, and it doesn't really suit a right-handed printer, but we can actually both use it. There's room for the Baron on the left, the block, goodies here, paper goes off. Who noticed that it was left-handed? Somebody. Chocolate egg to you if you can. I'm also minus a whole bunch of hair. Okay, we are printing. Yesterday, there's 120 sheets of paper in the stack. Now, there's no way I can print key blocks, which need delicate same time, don't stop, don't stop. I can't do a key block and chat on this on the stream. So I did the key block, of course, yesterday afternoon, and last night. Today, we're doing the second color. What are we doing? I've got a picture for you. It's now open. It's not a secret anymore. This is the first print in next year's subscription series. It's called Take Off. The series is going to be Dreams of Future Past. It's, of course, images by the Atelier Sento. If you want a close-up view of this, I've got a link. Here we are. There's a link if you want a nice close-up scan of the picture. There it is. The thing goes open for subscriptions next week. I have to make a video, doing our year-end video, announcing the thing, blah, blah, blah. So hold on, those of you who are interested in these prints. It's happening next week. Look at the bottom left corner of the print on the screen there. Do you see the embossing? Hands up, who can read it? Hands up, everybody who can read it. Bottom right-hand corner, it's got the title, Take Off. bottom left corner. Who can read the embossing? It says Hori carving, Keishi Suri printing Buru. I got a letter from an email from Taran-san last night, and he says it's the dream team. So I don't know about that. My dream team is Hori Buru Suri Buru, but I understand Taran-san's point of view. It's done very well. It's really cool. Is he here today? He's probably busy somewhere, I don't know, carving or something, I hope. It's good. It's the dream team. Who could have imagined it? And I'm still not really sure what, well, I was going to say, what does the establishment think about this? There isn't much establishment left. But here at Mokuhankan, look at us now. This British-Canadian boy printing the Cat series, those beautiful prints carved by, Chon-san from Hong Kong. The last print in the Hokusai series, beautifully printed by Dei-chan from Hong Kong. This one carved by Taran-san from Wales. What does the establishment think about us? I mean, I feel a bit sad for the Japanese people on our team here, Aimi-san and Ishikawa-san, They're kind of getting, whatever. Mokuhankan. I never, ever, ever would have dreamed anything like this, When I came here 39 years ago, I never, ever could have even I couldn't have even imagined this. Not even if I was in a nightmare or something. I could not have imagined it. Okay, you saw a moment ago, there's some prints waiting. These will be waiting for me to be checked later on. This is from Dei-chan. All the other printing she's doing, she's still printing more Hokusai prints. She's also run up another batch of the Tokugawa T-ball. Beautiful, beautiful. She is doing such wonderful work. Look at these, every one exactly the same. Beautiful gradations laid on top of each other. Oh, this one's carved by me about 25 years ago or 20 years ago. No, 20 years ago. And it's printed now by Dei-chan. And I'm not sure if it's turned on. We've been out of stock. So just a minute, let me jump over to the manager system and check catalog, edit an existing item. What's the stock number for Tokugawa T-ball? Here it is. It's number 275. It's been turned off. Oh, here we go. I've got to change the printer to Dei-chan, and we have to turn it on. I should have done this last night. Done. Turned on. Okay. Okay, let's print. The paper is out. If I had forgotten this, I'd have been in big trouble. It was out at about 6 o'clock this morning. Excuse me. 2 batches of paper came out, one for me and one for Ishikawa-san, joining us later on, maybe 9 o'clock or so. Behind me, you will see Ishikawa-san. And she's doing a fun job. She's doing test printing on something you haven't seen yet. But during last summer, while we were still waiting for a bunch of blocks to come from Jed that never showed up, Kawasaki-san got busy. We got busy. And this is Koitsu. You know the print we've got of his, Fuji from Tago Bay. This is a pair to it. This is Manazuru Harbor. I have an original Kyogozuri of this from Koitsu's era, original Kyogozuri, and we used that to make a set of blocks, and Ishikawa-san is now test printing it. It'll be some weeks before it's ready, for sure. Yeah, if I fire up the camera, forget that the paper wasn't out. How quickly do subscriptions fill up on a new release? I don't know. I know we're shooting for 300 for this, and when it gets to 300, we're going to turn it off for a few months. I don't know. I really don't want this kind of conversation. Get in early because it's going to sell out soon. I hate that kind of stuff, but it's quite possible it'll sell out soon. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Even if you miss it, it doesn't matter. The Hokusai series was turned off for months and months. It's now turned back on because we've had time to reprint it. I just don't know. I'm sorry. I really don't want to have that kind of conversation. What we are going to do is the same as we've done for the past couple of years. Current subscribers get first crack. When the main subscriptions do go open, they will do so in a YouTube video, our year-end YouTube video, in which I will say, subscriptions are now open, go over there. But 24 hours before uploading the video, we will be sending an email to all our current subscribers and people who have just finished the series, you know, the people who've been with us for the past year. They will get 24 hours advance notice. So current subscribers will have a chance to get in. You're not going to miss out. We wouldn't do that. Somebody who's been subscribing to us for 10 years goes over there and it's sold out. That's not fair. So current people get 24 hours advance notice, and then it goes open for everybody. I'm sorry, I don't know. I just don't know. It's a new thing for us, new designers, a new series. It might not be everybody's cup of tea. Well, nothing's going to be everybody's cup of tea, but we'll see. Anyway, we'll see. I myself don't care. I think it is going to do very well. Whether or not it sells out the first day is irrelevant to us. Okay. Here's where we're up to so far. As I said yesterday, I did the key block. And this print has two keys, or parts of it are keyed twice. Now, something else also is going on here. I've got these 3 cups laid out. This is the pigment I'm going to use today. This is the paste, and this is just simply water. It's actually a bit of dirty water. The mixing is going to happen here. The pigment sometimes will go directly onto the block. Sometimes it will happen here. And these are all laid out very nicely for a very specific reason. Let me grab the camera here, muck around with it a bit more, and show you something else that's going on here. If we look up, we have another camera shooting directly down. Now, don't get excited. That's a light. What you're looking at here is a camera. It's a Canon camera pointed directly down onto the bench. We're not going to be streaming with that camera, but we are going to be taking video. Now, I'm not going to combine the two this morning because I'm going to be talking to you guys. What I'm doing during the process of making this print is we're going to make a YouTube video, and we're going to make one of those YouTube videos where I have the microphones in my ears. There's no noise around, the camera's watching down, and you can hear exactly how the printing works. So I can't combine the two. I did this last night with the key block after everybody had left the building. And I'll be doing it again tonight. So I'm going to save 10 sheets of this. I'm going to go through. And I don't know how quickly we're going to move along, but if I get towards the end, I'm going to save 10 sheets for shooting tonight when it's all quiet. Microphones in the ears. Yes, we're talking about, they're called binaural microphones. You put them in your ears. They look just like a pair of headphones. You put them in your ears, and then when you play back the thing, it sounds exactly the same as it would have done if you had been listening, you know. Somebody else can explain. Binaural recordings. So we're going to make a binaural recording of the printing of this thing. 10 sheets. So the key block 10 times, color 10 times, something 10 times. And no talk, no nothing, just this. Just the sounds of the work. And we have a video like this on our channel. We did one last year. I forget, I did one of the prints. And it's got like, whatever, nearly 1 million views. It seems to be a big deal. I don't really want to pander to the what's it called? The AM, I can never remember those names. AMSR. No. Whatever. I don't want to pander to that, but it brings a lot of people to the channel, and they end up, you know, enjoying prints. So we're going to do one of those. No talk, just sounds of the work. Oh, I think that Baron's too strong. Too strong. One sec. Let me get a different Baron. Hang on. Oh, let's use Murata-san's. This is the twin. Remember the one I showed you the other day on the show and tell? Murata-san's beautiful, beautiful Baron. This is the twin. I don't want to pander, but we're going to pander. No, actually, am I hypocritical? I don't know. I like that. I mean, I want people to be able to see the flow of the work without the talking. On one sheet, a second sheet, a third sheet, a fourth sheet, to see the pace of it, to see how quickly the pigments go on, to see how it's mixed, to see that when you're doing 10 prints, you don't put pigment on 10 times, but pigment might only go on every third print or so. So this is my justification for doing this. It's why we first did it, and then it turned out a whole bunch of those people came to watch anyway. So that's what it was about. I'm not borrowing. I didn't go to Ishikawa-san's bench. I went to the Baron box. I'm the owner here. This is my Baron. Yes, the other Baron here, some of them are stronger. This one is flatter and more delicate. We have only fine lines here. Test, 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 test. That should do it. Let's roll. So we have 123 sheets here in the pack. There's 120 plus 3 for testing. And if I do a good job, if I'm a good boy and get it all right, we'll have 120 prints. That's probably not what's going to happen. I won't get that many. I'm out of shape on this stuff. But we'll have a good batch of them. Now that, of course, won't be enough for the subscription, so I will then start all over again. Okay, here's the deal. 2 key blocks. And this, of course, has to stay moist, so straight away it goes under the plastic. I'm not sure about that Baron. Which one would be best? Not sure. Let's see. Now, because it's printing today, my head is going to be down. I'm watching the bench. I'm watching the color. I'm going to miss a lot of chat stuff here, so please bear with me. If there's an important question, maybe put it in caps or something, or you'll have to repeat it when I look up. I can't clearly see the chat, everything that's happening today. I've got to watch what I'm doing. Kubota-san does this. He watches TV. He puts a television on top of his desk, and he prints and watches TV. He's got a lot more guts than I do, so, or stupidity, whatever. So. No, it's experience. He knows where everything is. You know, he doesn't have to reach. And even, of course, once you're printing now, this is now 1, 2, 3, fourth copy for me. So I haven't got the muscle memory yet. But when you're printing hundreds and hundreds of copies of the same thing, muscle memory kicks in. For example, here we go, in the corner, down. Now from here on, it should be muscle memory. I'm still learning. It's one there, the rocket is there, the smoke is there. Here we go, 3 strokes, 4 strokes. But once you've done a few dozen copies, I get it. You know, you don't actually have to look. And this part of it now is completely muscle memory. Over it goes, you know. There's also something coming up. For those of you over there in other countries who have access to Japanese TV, on some of the cable channels over there, they carry NHK TV programs and stuff like this. There's a major NHK TV program that's run all the time called the Taiga Drama. Each year they pick a theme and they spend the whole year doing a long dramatic program on it with an episode once each week. And the episode running currently this year for 2024 is about Murasaki Shikibu and part of the Heian era. It's sort of a semi-made-up, semi-historical story. The story for 2025 is different. It's going to be about a gentleman called Tsutaya Juzaburo, who was the major publisher of woodblock prints in the Edo era. So for one full year, NHK is going to be broadcasting a major drama based on Japanese traditional woodblock prints. And we're going to meet people like Utamaro and Hokusai and stuff like this. And of course, it's totally fictionalized, but it's based on the real character and the real episodes. So if you've got access to NHK programs starting in January, if you're interested in woodblock prints and this kind of stuff, it's going to be running for one full year. Now, this has nothing to do with us. I imagine that over the course of making the program, they need lots of information, lots of background technical assistance on how woodblock prints are made. There's going to be a million scenes of guys hunched over carving and printing woodblocks. They didn't come to Mokuhankan for that kind of assistance. Last thing they want is me trying to cover up my stuff and pretend I'm an Edo era printer. I would guess they went to Adachi. I haven't heard anything about this in the background. But they must have, of course, gone to Adachi for, what's the word? Technical advice, I guess. Otherwise, if the actors try and do this by themselves, I can't imagine what's going to happen. Anyway, keep an eye out for it. Keep an eye out. It's the Taiga drama for 2025 from NHK. Not tiger as in the animal. Taiga. Tai as in big and ga. I guess I'm not sure which character they use for it. Eiga. Eiga is the character in picture, moving picture. I honestly don't know which character they use. I'm sorry. How do they keep it damp with no plastic? It's easy, cloth. Just moistened cloth. There's a water bucket here. We have a brush and a water bucket. There's cloth on top, and you're just moistening it as it dries out. It's no big deal. Some printers still use that. It's easier now. The plastic thing is here, so let's use this. But it's not essential at all. For those of you just joining in and wondering what's going to be happening today, this is it. You've now seen it. This is all that is going to happen today. I'm just going to do this same thing again and again and again, nearly 100 times. The next stream will be the same thing again and again, nearly 100 times, with a different color. This is my job now for the next couple of months. I need to make a few hundred copies of this print. I'm doing it in batches, 120 at a time. It's the kind of work that if you have to like it. If you don't like it, it's bizarrely robotic and boring. But if you like it, and again, we're a half an hour in, so lots of people have probably just joined. This is the goal. This is the print that I am making today. That's the finished, well, that's the test print that I finished yesterday morning. And you can see what's happening here. This thing that I'm brushing right now, where the rocket takes off and the building's in the background, you see it in the print there. It's a sort of a teal color. Here, let me just print on a blank piece of paper so people can see what's going on here. The current block is this one. This is what I'm printing. It's the background, and you can see there's spots cut out here. Look at these stripes. Stripes coming down. What are the white stripes there? Those are the stripes where the bamboo leaves come through. So you get the idea. This is how woodblock prints are made. And please don't worry too much about the realism, the smoke trail or whatever it is. It's a woodblock print. It's not a scientific portrait of a rocket launch. This is why I hire outside designers. If Dave had been doing this, that rocket would be going, of course, straight up. This one's much more interesting. I've already had a complaint in quotation marks, about the girl's kimono pattern. It's the wrong season. And like, hey. Okay, we do have a couple of things to break up today's stream here. There is a small show and tell at the end. And Watanabe-san, our flea market manager downstairs, she got a bunch of new prints the other day, and she showed me some yesterday afternoon. And she showed me them with a bit of trepidation, because when we buy older prints for sale in our shop, she also knows that there's one special customer here, Dave, who would like to buy some of those things. And so it is. Among the stuff she found yesterday, there were quite a few actually that I want, but I can't be greedy and take them. But there is one that absolutely has to go into our collection. So I'll show that to you at show and tell, a print that she bought yesterday. And it's really, really, really fun. Then what else have we got? A couple of things I've got to interrupt. Yeah, okay. Anyway, let's go about halfway through and then I'll show you something. So let's see. Well, as far as the seasonal aspect of kimono, I mean, every day of the week here, we see people tramping around Asakusa in kimonos that have, oh my God, just, if you care about that sort of thing and it bothers you, then you shouldn't come anywhere near Asakusa because there's real kimono, there's plastic kimono, there's kimono from every season under the sun. There's people wearing it right. There's 99% of the people wearing it wrong. It doesn't matter, you know. But if you're a if you understand kimono details and you have a delicate constitution, then don't come to Asakusa, whatever you do. The funny ones are the couples. So what is really common is there'll be a couple coming down the street, and she and maybe the child have rented kimono. The woman and her daughter have rented kimono, and the guy is just in normal clothes. And you can imagine the conversation that happened over in the kimono rental shop. You know, she said, come on, let's do this. And he says, over my dead body, whatever. But then there's also the kind that they've rented formal, like wedding kimonos, and the family's walking down the street, and the woman is in a formal wedding kimono, stomping along like Western style in her boots, and the guy's got this form. It's so much fun. Whatever, it's just a thing. Do they do that in Switzerland or Holland? Do the people dress up in lederhosen or something? I don't know, the tourists. It is so much fun. Whatever, I'm laughing. Dave doesn't have that kind of fun, so it's okay. Have I been to Monet's garden in France? No, I'm sorry. My knowledge of France is short tourist trips to Paris. That's all. I'm sorry. In my not late teens, early 20s, I spent 3 or 4 days in Paris getting fleeced. No, I haven't been around France at all. I'm sorry. Oh, lots of woodblock prints there. I see. Okay. No. Yeah, I get the connection, of course. Pretty quiet out there today. That street's deserted. It's Saturday. Man, it's going to be jumping later on. We're now in the year-end situation where parties and parties. Every company group, every school group, every office group, every community group, they have their year-end party. They call it Bonenkai. And quite frequently they rent a restaurant. And this is a deal. I try to go out for dinner these days. And I go to one of my favorite restaurants. And I can't get in there. It's closed. It's reserved for party, you know. Can I show the kento? Somebody's asking. The kento, the registration marks. Each block has 2 notches. There's the corner mark, bottom right corner. And there's another notch along the left-hand side. And every piece of wood we have here has the same 2 notches in the same place. And so the corner mark is here, and that's here, and the paper goes into the corner mark, holding, into the notch, holding. The paper is now registered. the tool then comes and rubs it in the correct place. The system is called kento, and the two parts, this is a kagi, the corner, and this is the hikitsuke, the mark against which you pull, the pulling mark. Together they're called kento, registration. They're not built in, we had to carve them. I mean, the registration marks were cut first, and then the other part was cut to match up to it. And I can't start to explain this process here. On many of our carving streams, when I'm carving, we show that very carefully. So we certainly have back VOD showing this, but I can't cut one here for you today. Here we are, paper going in the corner, lock it with my thumb, in the other mark, lock it with my thumb. I now, for a little bit of insurance, I lock here because I'm going to let go. Touch gently, and now the paper won't move anymore. It's on that carved, it's on the wet pigment, and it won't move. I can let go. And off she comes, and we have now two colors on the block. Again, for those of you who just arrived, haven't seen what's going on, today we're printing this print. This is the end result of what's happening in today's stream. Not today's stream, I know it's going to be a week before we get to the end. Today is the second color, the color for the distant buildings and the rocket itself. And I have 120 sheets in the stack here, so you're not going to see anything else today except this repetition again and again and again. The next stream, 2 more days, will be another color. Raiders. Welcome whoever you are, from wherever you come. Now something else happening here too. Today is chilly and extremely dry. The workshop is very, very dry. All of Tokyo now in winter. The relative humidity is extremely low. This paper is moist before we start, but the printing area today is very small. There's moisture here on the block, boom. And the paper will pick up that moisture, but only an extremely small amount of it. And as I'm doing this, the paper is drying out in the air. So the paper has X level of moisture in front of me. After it's printing, it has X minus. And when I finish this color, I'll go back through with my brush, touching up here and there, adding more water to the stack so that it doesn't all dry out. If the image I was printing today had a wider area, it will pick up water from the printing process, because there's so much area. And then I have to sometimes wait or put interleaving paper in there to remove water. The idea is that through the whole process, starting 2 days ago to finishing next week, the moisture level in the printing paper should stay as much as possible at the same level. And this morning, it's losing moisture. It's no big deal. This is not a tragedy. This is part of the printer's manipulation. We just do this all the way through. Subscriptions, they're open, I hope, by the end of next week. I need to get a YouTube video announcing the series ready. The goal is maybe around the 20th. I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to hit it. But somewhere on the 20th, there will be a new YouTube video going up announcing subscriptions for this series. The price is okay. It's going to be the same as last year. We're not changing any prices. And this series fits the same boxes as we've used for the past few years. So if you've got room in a box, you're okay. Yeah, we should be able to make thousands if I'm careful with them. Our current record is the Great Wave print, which is well over 3,000, nearly 4,000 really. The rickshaw cart print we've done, that's pushing 2,000 copies now. The blocks are in beautiful condition. In fact, that's being printed right now, another set. How's our time? 8:44. Okay, that's the first group. I've got the 120 sheets, actually it's 123 as I said, 120 sheets split into 6 groups of 20 each, separated by newsprint. So I've got a sheet of moist newspaper, an 8 up fold of newsprint moistened with 20 prints. Newsprint 20, newsprint 20. So I've got 6 batches in here. That's now 1 batch. That's the first 23 are now finished. That means I have 100 sheets left. And this is the way the day goes, one by one, one by one. It's taken me about 30 minutes to do this. That's kind of a bit slow, but because, you know, there's a bunch of other things going on here. So I will now move forward, shift over 1 sheet of newsprint. This is moistened newsprint coming off the top of the stack and going in here. And this is the point, if I felt this was getting too dry, I could put a bit of moisture on this newsprint here. What I'm going to do is I'll save it. I'm just going to keep going, then check the stack and restack it, whatever. Okay, I said there's a small sort of announcement. It's not an announcement. It sounds like I'm going to start trying to sell stuff, whatever. Paper, paper, paper. When I was out in, what's it called? Fukui Prefecture the other day, last week. This is Suga-san's desk. That's Suga-san's YouTube award. This is for show and tell. Okay, I have paper here. When I was out talking to Murata-san last week in Echizen City, Jun-san, Iwano-san came and visited. It's next door. They're 2 doors down. So Jun-san drove by, saw activity, parked his car, came in and chatted with us. He's watching Murata-san, blah, 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 blah. I'm also there. Jun-san, how you doing? He says, oh, Dave, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. when a break in the conversation came, he said, Dave, on our paper, you guys were a little bit not happy because we couldn't deliver enough paper to you this year. And I'm like, yeah, it's okay. I mean, that's why we're here working with Murata-san. So he says, actually, we had the other day, we had a cancellation and I've got some extra paper here. Do you want it? And then he started to explain how big it was. And I said, doesn't matter. Yes, send it. Send it. Just send it. Send it. He says, well, it's not your normal. I said, send it. So what it is, it's paper that's not our normal size. It's a little bit smaller. We have paper for our great waves that makes 2 great waves, or we cut for 8 smaller prints, kind of like this. The paper he had made for somebody else, who then canceled, was a bit smaller. It's normal Iwano-san paper, and these are the numbers. That's the size. It's 45 by 55, 100 sheets. And that's too small for me to use to make 2 great waves. It just doesn't quite fit inside. But those are the numbers of this paper. There's 100 sheets of it in there. It's not sized. If anybody wants some of it, write to Naomi-san. Just write to us. Go to our website and whatever. info@mokuhankan.com or something. It's going to be about, I haven't got the bill yet, so it's going to be about 14 or 15 bucks per sheet in terms of US dollars. I don't know all the other currencies. It'll be about 2,000 yen per sheet, so that's somewhere around 14 or 15 dollars. There's 100 sheets there. We can't send one by one. Nami will say whatever, 10 sheets or something we can send. We can roll into a tube about 10 sheets. If it's 100, it'll be flat. Anyway, if you're interested in the paper, write to her. It's not sized. It's beautiful Iwano Ichibe paper. And the numbers are 45 vertically and 55 centimeters wide. And we have up to 100. And it'll be about 2,000 yen. I haven't got the bill yet. We're just going to turn it over. Jun-san wanted to get rid of it. We're trying to help him. He felt he was stuck because the order was canceled. I'm like, just send it. But remember, it's unsized. You can't make woodblock prints with it until you size it. And please don't ask us, Dave, can you size it and send it across? I do not have the time to do that. I'm sorry. End of the commercial break. Why do we freeze the paper before it gets printed? It's not a question of freezing it before it gets printed. We're freezing it during the printing process each night to minimize the time that the paper has a chance to get moldy. Here in Japan, most of the year, it's warm and damp in this room. Our printing paper is dampened. It stays damp all through the process. It's coated with glue, and there's a real chance it can get moldy. And we have a couple of choices to do this. We have to work as fast as possible to help stop it, or we could add preservatives, some kind of, some kind of killer, that kills bacteria and stuff. But we don't want to do that. We've got human beings here working with the paper. Sometimes we've got one pregnant at the moment, and we do not want to muck with different chemicals in the paper. So what we do is we print during the day, and every evening, pop, 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 the paper goes into the freezer. That doesn't kill mold, but it certainly minimizes the time that it has to grow. During the winter, it's not so bad. And actually, for this printing job, if I was going to do this in 5 days or so, I could probably leave the paper here without freezing it. And because it's so cold, the mold is not going to really grow actively. But we're just trying to minimize the growth. There's mold everywhere. It's not that we have a dirty workshop. There's mold spores everywhere. I'm missing the conversation. I'm sorry, question asked. Someone says, I can smell the mold in sub prints. Smells like grandparent old house. I'm not sure what you mean. Someone's asking, couldn't we use that paper for other prints? I don't know, we buy paper from Iwano-san in 3 standard sizes. The old Bosho size, which is a few centimeters bigger than this. Then we buy the old Biro, which is quite a bit bigger. And then we buy the Takenage size, which is even larger still. And all of our print sets are designed such that they cut from those 3 sizes with a minimum amount of waste. There's no point for us in buying paper that we can, if we buy a sheet of paper and we can only use 60% of it and the rest doesn't fit for our prints. So for decades now, we've been matching our publications to the available paper size. So this one here, it's just missing. It's 3 centimeters too short in that dimension. And if we used it to make our normal prints, a whole bunch would get trimmed off the side and thrown away. Yeah, we could in a pinch do this, or we could design another print that fits that sheet, whatever. I just didn't fool around. He just said, can you help me out with this? I just said yes, so it doesn't matter. If nobody wants it, we will happily keep it here, and one day we will find a use for it. So. Cut the unsized paper to whatever dimensions you need. No, the problem is this is too small. For example, if I wanted to use that paper to make this print, I can't do it. This is 13 by 17. There's no way I can cut it in there. Here, 17 and 17 is 34. That's 45. So I would have 9 centimeters at the top wasted. The match size prints aren't printed at match size. They're printed in larger sheets, of course. For the match labeled prints, we need 48. This is 45. Someone's asking, are woodblock prints still popular in Japan? Are they in very high demand? Yes, as long as you're not Japanese. Is there construction noise outside? I don't know. The outside camera has a microphone. If there's too much bothersome noise from outside, I can turn that off. How are the shelves going? I really don't know. I know they're over there beavering away. I won't see them now till they're finished. Unless there's a problem and they call me over there for decisions or something, I won't see the shelves. I asked Ishigami-san, our staff member, to take some pictures now and then while they were going up. No, I won't see it. When I was there on Wednesday and Thursday, Ishigami-san and I moved everything out of the way. That was a mess. The guys have a clear run. They've got their empty space. Over the next 2 weeks, they should get it all done. It was a cool thing I saw. The two carpenters came in. After me and Ishigami-san moved everything away, we've got an empty space. It's 4 meters high, the whole width of the room. It's about 8 meters wide, and it's a cavernous space. And the guy came into it, and he had a little thingy. It was sort of like a little dome structure with legs, and it had a bunch of windows, and he plugged it in and he stood it on the floor. And then he started dialing and changing dials, and inside was a laser, or a bunch of lasers. And after he got it set up, the room was illuminated by these lines. The vertical line here, the top where the shelves would go, the bottom where the shelves would go. We could almost see the shelves, the outline of them, on the wall, all coming from this one little sort of like a planetarium device that was showing lasers all over the things. And it wasn't just one line. I've seen laser levels. You put it on the floor, there's the green line. This showed a picture of the whole thing. It put a green line in each corner across the roof. It showed where there was a pipe in the way at the top. He had programmed this thing. And oh my God, I have no, like, lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines coming out of this little planetarium. This was so cool. I have never seen anything like this. The green laser that shows you the line where to cut, yeah, we've got that on our table saw, you know. This was so cool. I'm like standing there, what's this? And he's like, this is how we lay things out these days, you know. It was so cool. He put the lights out and this green thing illuminated the whole shape of the whole system. He could see one place where the shelf, the unit that they were planning, impacted a water pipe that was coming up at the top. So he came to me, Dave, you've given me this plan, but we got a water pipe in the way. Do you mind if I move this shelf over 10 centimeters? And I'm like, yeah, of course, let's do this, let's do this. I was astonished by that. I had so much fun. He was showing me this. Matterport scanner, is that what it's called? Matterport. I mean, this thing's probably built in Japan, I guess, Jeff. I don't know. Just, I had never seen this before, so. Okay, it's Saturday. We'll be getting visitors soon. I know Sadako-san will probably drop in and say hello. She's due here at around 9:10, right? And Ishikawa-san is coming here to print today. The paper is a tad on the dry side, and when I finish this run, I'm definitely going to have to go through the stack with my water brush and moisten it up again. The next color I need to do is the green on the trees, and it's more of a beta. When the lines are fine like this, the key block and this one I'm doing now, it doesn't matter if the paper's a tiny bit too hard, but to do a smooth color, you need the paper to be quite soft and receptive to the pigment. And the paper right now is a little bit too hard, I guess too dry, too hard. And it's okay for fine lines like this because they get pressed into the paper. But for the color, the smooth colors, the paper's going to have to be a bit more moist. This also, for those of you who don't know the full story of what's going on here, the paper I'm using today, the printing paper, the full stack, this is all paper that was made by Murata-san. The day you saw, if you were on the stream Monday to a week and a half ago, if you were on the stream on Monday, you saw her making paper. Dave stepped in to fool around for a few minutes. The paper we made that day, Monday, the paper she made that day, the 17 test sheets, I brought back to Tokyo, gave it a test, and I gave her the go-ahead. She then got busy actually the next few days with the rest of the pulp, the rest of the kozo fiber in that bucket, and she is still busy actually on the rest of the 10 kilograms. But the paper we're seeing here today was made by her over the next few days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, she made more paper, sent it over, and that's what we're using now. I sized it on a stream the other day. This is the same paper you saw me sizing the other day, the same sheets of paper. And now we're printing it. So, interesting, someone says, do I have an estimate of paper sheets versus kilograms of fiber? I don't, until we get to the bottom of those buckets. She still hasn't used it all. So I won't have a number until it's all gone. I'm very, very, very interested in that number because that's going to determine the cost of this paper. And we're not selling it, I'm going to be using it. But the sheets per kilogram is an extremely important number, and there's just no way to know until the bucket is empty and all kilograms of use. It is going a long way. Somebody's on here. It's looking very good. So far, we've got so many more sheets than I had expected to get based on how far down it's running in that bucket. It's looking good. It doesn't matter for me so much because I don't really care what the price of this paper is. It's such a small part of the cost of a finished print. But it's going to be a vital statistic for Murata-san. Her income from that workshop is going to depend on the number of sheets she gets from each kilogram of fiber. We've got a piece of junk here somewhere, a piece of... Dave, do they have hot chestnut vendors on the street corners in Asakusa? No, with one exception. On Rokudori, across the street from me, the last shop before Donkey is a hot chestnut shop. And you can buy your little paper bag full of hot chestnuts across the street and down one block. So yeah, if you're from New York, you can get your fix here in Asakusa. As for bagels, don't ask. I hear the door, sliding door opening. This must be Sadako coming up to say hello. The sliding door between the second and third floors. Here's footsteps. Good morning, good morning. I heard this door opening. Hi, it's okay. No recording. I'll be recording later, but not now. Oh, lunch in the fridge. Wow, thank you. She brought lunch again. Come say hello. We're on this camera. Sadako's. Hey. Your haircut and?
Wow.
Today, for the first time. I don't know, the last few days I've been doing sizing. I didn't want to get glue on the jeans. Sadako bought me some new jeans the other day, and I didn't want to get glue on them. But I knew if I didn't wear them today when she came, I'd be in trouble. Thank you. They're comfortable.
Okay.
They're comfortable. And there's no danger of getting dirty here. This is quite comfortable. Okay, I'll be here all day long. I'll come and say hello, but you guys are
I know.
yep, just So. Oh, a million hellos here, Sadako.
Pardon?
There's a million hellos.
Hello.
What's our time? 9:10. We're still okay. As I said, I have a show and tell, but it's not. It's one print, really. Actually, well, no, it's not one print. It's 8 prints. There's a puzzle for you. Today's show and tell is 1 print. Today's show and tell is 8 prints. Sadako's English is good for a few reasons. I know she's a bright lady who studied well back in university and whatever. And when she wants to do something, she does it. She still now, even at even at her age, she still carries a little notebook. And during conversations each day, if something is not quite right and she realizes that she's used the wrong word, out comes her notebook, in it comes. She gets home that night, out come the dictionaries. She is still actively studying to try and improve her English and everything else. Dave has never opened a notebook to write Japanese words in it forever. She also speaks Swedish. She and her husband at that time, he passed away, oh my God, 40 plus years ago, I don't even know. She had a family. She had a husband and daughters. Their daughters are long grown up. She has 4 grandchildren. But they lived in Sweden for a number of years. So she speaks Swedish really well. The Swedish visitors, she hears the accent and then she says the thing, in Swedish, "Are you from Sweden?" And they're like, "Did I just hear a Japanese lady in a shop talk to me in Swedish?" And she's like, "Yes." And that's not what they expect. So it's a great pleasure for her to knock their socks off, So I've never studied anything, and she's still studying everything. Whatever, different personalities. That's another 40. We've come 10, 10, 10, 10 for 40. Well, the first 10 is actually 13. So that's the way it goes. We would now be 1/3 of the way through this color. Again, for people who are just joining, again, let's pop this up. This is a final version of the print we are making today. What you're seeing is the second color go on. I'm not sure how many colors there are. I think it's 8 impressions, 9 impressions. And what we're printing today is the light key block, the rocket and buildings in the background. That's what are on this block. That's what we are printing today. You can see the shape of the rocket there, carved, shooting up into the air. And this is how wood block printing works. Carved bits of wood with pigment rubbed on result in something like this. Magic. Magic. How's our time? Oh, it's 9:14. Okay, instead of starting the next 10 then, let's do this. Let me wrap it up a sec here. Seal the end. Okay, 1/3 the way through, exactly. Okay, yeah, a few minutes. The outside camera won't go into demo mode today because I turned it off. I set it up this morning just before 8 o'clock and I went into the settings and I turned off demo. I turned off demo mode. Someone's asking, you might be greeted in Swedish at the shop this winter. Well, if you're on Saturdays and or Sundays. Sadako is here Saturday and Sunday. She doesn't work during the week. So if you want your Swedish hit, Saturday's your best bet. Maybe Sunday too. Okay, what was I doing? Oh, yeah. Show and tell. Okay, 8 For show and tell, first we need this book. Now, you've seen this book before, and you've seen many, not all the prints in here. This is one of our collection print books, and it's a... Am I upside down, right side up? Oh, this is a book of mouth picture prints. Mouth picture means kuchie, means frontispiece. No, John, I'm okay. It doesn't matter. That can stay there. There's nothing dramatic here. Nothing dramatic. This is our book of kuchie prints. Now, you've seen these before. These are the prints that were the frontispiece to magazine stories. And I'm going to go through here because there's one in particular that I want to find. Actually, I don't remember who it's by. Here it is. Oh, Dave, you should have looked this up before. Nanda. I'm going to show my ignorance here. I don't remember who this is by. But here we are. Now, this is a print that used to be stuck in the front of a magazine. This is a copy that's been torn out of a magazine back in 1900 or 1905, whatever. Relax, we're not worried about the bowls. I'm not going to be doing anything. Now, normally these prints fold in thirds. You can see the line here where it used to be folded, but this one has been unfolded and it's been glued onto a bit of backing paper. And in fact, they used a bit too much water to glue it and some of the red pigments started to smear. Anyway, that's not the point today. The point is this is a typical kuchie print. Okay, big deal. We've seen these before. No big deal. But what arrived yesterday in our shop, Watanabe-san found this, quickly bought it and said, Dave, you have got to see this. And what she found was this. Now, if you squint a little bit, it looks like the same print. Let me take it out of its packaging here, the guy who sent it over. It looks like, and indeed it kind of is, the same print. But, are you seeing what I'm seeing? What somebody did, and I don't know if a a publisher or a dealer or whatever, I have no idea who did this, but when somebody here has put them with photo corners. It's another pochibukuro. And this pochibukuro isn't printed. What it is, it's a blank pochibukuro, and this is pasted on the top. I can see it, I can feel it at the end. My finger runs up against it. The kuchie print has been sliced into 8 pieces extremely, extremely carefully and pasted onto blank envelopes to make a bunch of pochibukuro. Now, I have no idea. Was this a dealer who did this? I mean, was this a big thing? Could you order these? I don't think so. My guess, I don't know. This is just a wild guess. I don't know. I would assume that this would be an independent project by somebody. Somebody who had a kuchie or a bunch of kuchie, and they just decided to have some fun with it. But I don't know. Maybe somebody was doing a business like this. Because kuchie back then were, I was saying they're a dime a dozen. They weren't even a dime a dozen. They were free. They were stuck in the front of magazines. And people read the magazine and toss it. So most of the kuchie, most of them, I'd got no idea what percentage of them, 95%, 99%, most of them got trashed with the magazine that nobody wanted to read anymore. But somebody, I guess, somebody somewhere along the line pulled some out, chopped them up very carefully, and made a bunch of pochibukuro from them. Now, we have an ongoing discussion here with some of our staff in the Ome workshop. We have our great wave prints, and we make them a batch of 60 so at a time. And in each batch of the great waves, we have 5 or 6 or 3 or 4 or 5 that don't quite make the cut. There might be a bit of loose pigment on the gradation or something, or a tiny bit of misregistration, whatever. And we have a stack of many, many hundreds, with no exaggeration. We have a stack of many, many hundreds of great waves which are not suitable for selling. So the staff, Yasui-san out there, had an idea. She took, with my permission, she got a couple of these and said, "Can I play with these?" And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." She chopped them up and she made some samples for me. She made a sample of a fan. Like, she bought a plastic fan, glued our great wave on the side, and there's a fan. She got a blank plastic book cover thing, cut one of our great waves, put it inside, and there we have an original Mokuhankan great wave book cover. And she said, "Let's do this with the no good prints." And she was really, really, really unhappy when I said, "No, I don't want to make trivial junk. I don't want to devalue the thing that we are making." So I said no. So we have those great waves stacked up. But maybe, should we do this? I don't know. Take some of our great wave prints, chop them up, glue them onto envelopes, and here we are with a great wave pochibukuro set. I'm not going to do this. We don't have time to fool around with such things. But yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. So, these are astonishing. The way they are carved and printed, absolutely astonishing. It's a woodblock print. Every line you see there was delicately, delicately carved. Could we take the print off somehow and reuse the paper? I'm not sure what you mean. These are glued onto envelopes. If it was strong glue, no, they're not going to come off. Also, we can't moisten these. That red will run. This print couldn't go in the bathtub, not with that red printed on it, not at all. Yeah, I know, the fans, it would be a traditional use for the prints. I know, just I don't want to trivialize it. We want to make beautiful woodblock prints. We're not interested in making stationery. There's other woodblock shops that do that. They make letter sets and stationery and things like this. We're just too busy making real woodblock prints. Oh, you've seen this. We flip through this quite a number of times every now and then when it comes up. You know, this is our Coutier collection. I've got a few hundred of them. Beautifully, beautifully, beautifully made prints. And the level of carving and printing is just beyond belief. Some of them are just, they're just breathtaking. You know, the detail, the scale. There's my finger, and we have the woman's face, and the number of gradations, and the overall color balance. There's not a misstep anywhere. They're absolutely beautifully made. And they were literally thrown away. The paper quality wasn't good. These were made on very, very thin paper. We talked about this in that video I made a couple of months ago. The Coutier were made on quick, fast, disposable stuff. They're not made on high quality Echizen Hosho paper at all. They were made on a very thin, very strong paper. They were perhaps sized very, very strongly. We have a couple of rarities. So we have some Coutier here that didn't get folded. This is really, really rare. This didn't get folded, so it didn't go through the magazine publishing. Maybe it was left over in a printer's workshop. I don't know. Gloss on the hair. And again, detail, carving detail, absolutely astonishing. It's hard to believe it's a woodblock print. So someone says it looks like a watercolor or ink wash. These are woodblock prints. They're climbing in price rapidly. They're the one I'm just showing you here. There's the price. I kept the label. Now, Dave, get it up. I kept the label because I knew I would want to see it later on. There's the price for that print that you just saw. This is not yesterday. This is 15, 20 years ago. 2,000 yen. They're not 2,000 yen anymore. But at that time, 20 years ago, to buy a print of this quality for that price, absolutely, absolutely unbelievable. They're not all great art. They were, of course, they were illustrations. I know each Coutier was illustrating one of the stories in the magazine. Now, this is a lady, she's awaiting her execution. Out in the cherry blossoms, this gives you the thing. There's cherry blossoms, it's out in the garden or the countryside. They have arranged some screens to give her some privacy. She's in her white funeral dress. She's tied up. And any minute now, the samurai in question will be coming in to dispatch her. She's awaiting her execution. They weren't very pleasant stuff. A lot of these stories are really not pleasant. There's a lot of brutality. There's a lot of, just from my point of view now, I'm not a fan of this kind of ethic, the whole Bushido and all this, and honor and revenge. These are not words that Dave thinks should be part of a normal person's outlook on life. That famous story, the 47 Ronin, they wait years to plot their revenge and then go and behead the guy. I don't think revenge is anything that we should have part of our ethic anymore, but that old Bushido stuff. So for me, these things are simply, these are beautiful objects. I don't care at all for the morality behind the creation of these images. It's not just in Japan. If we go back in the West too, something like the Romeo and Juliet story. I don't find that an ethical model at all. You know, I mean, give me a break. Love, suicide. Some woman kills herself. I mean, give me a break because her man is gone. That's not how life works. But whatever. Sorry for the heavy. I'm printing today. So for me, these things are just drop dead, beautiful constructions. Every line you see there was carved and printed just the same way that you've watched me work in the past half hour, but on a much, much more beautiful, delicate. Take that, Shakespeare. Okay, fair enough. I'm not arguing with the rest of humanity. Just I do wonder sometimes the things that we watch and uphold. Yeah, Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, that's a thing. When you think about what's happening, is that the way you would want to behave? Is that the way you would want your daughter and son to behave? I don't think so. And we sort of hold these things up without really thinking very much about what we're doing anymore. It's okay. I mean, Japanese people don't walk down the street plotting revenge. You know, these things are way in the past and whatever. But sometimes we do. We hang on to those things without thinking about what they really represent. You know. So anyway, sorry. Today's image is simple and clean. It's take off. The deal about next year's series. Then put the stuff away before we sign off. The deal about next year's series, just so you know, it's if you jump ahead to a Japan. Imagine this: if you jumped ahead 200 years to some future possible Japan, and then looked back 100 years nostalgically at it. That's the kind of weird blend we're going to have in next year's subscription series. It's a mix. It's not all about rockets and stuff like this. Some of it's going to be in outer space. Some of it's going to be in Japan. Some of it we're going to look at drowned cities. Some of it we're going to see kids playing in a candy shop. We're going all over the place. We're going to see a tiny bit of bright neon Tokyo. We're going to see a sleeping cat that might actually be a cat and might not actually be a cat. We're going to see lots of fun stuff. I've seen and approved most of the images, not all. We're going to play with them as we go along. Okay, that's enough. I am now going to turn off the camera, put my head down, and get to work. Monday stream, 2 days from now, will be here at the same place, same time, same station. You're simply going to see a different piece of wood and a different color bowl. And I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing. All through December, this is what you're going to get. Okay, let me put the outside camera up. Where is it? Black camera. Let's put this up. I said we were going to do a test of the microphone. Let's save it for some other time. It's okay. That's the corner of Dokudori, going down to the bottom left. Going off to the left is Hoppidori, one of Tokyo's most famous bar streets. And going off to the top right is Denboin-dori, the street that runs along the south face of Sensoji Temple. Top left, you see a shop sign that says Ton-chan. Ton is the casual word for pork. Chan is a diminutive. So it's like the baby pig. And you know what they sell there. Okay, I'll roll the camera up to the sky tree and then we'll sign off. Okay, thank you. Bye for now. See you in 2 more days. 3, 2, 1, going down.